Welcome to today's lecture on the cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system is crucial for delivering oxygen and nutrients to tissues and removing waste products. In this session, we'll cover the anatomy and physiology of the heart, blood vessels, and blood circulation, explaining how everything works together to keep the body functioning. The cardiovascular system is made up of the heart, blood vessels, and blood. It's responsible for circulating blood throughout the body, which carries oxygen, nutrients, and hormones to tissues and removes waste products like carbon dioxide. You can think of the cardiovascular system as the body's transportation system. Let's break down the main components. Heart. The heart is a muscular organ located in the chest, slightly left of the midline. It acts as the pump that circulates blood. Blood vessels. There are 3 types of blood vessels. Arteries. These carry oxygen-rich blood away from the heart to the rest of the body. Veins. These return deoxygenated blood back to the heart. Capillaries. These are tiny vessels that connect arteries and veins. They allow the exchange of oxygen, nutrients, and waste between blood and tissues. Blood. Blood is the fluid that flows through the blood vessels. It carries oxygen, nutrients, waste products, and immune cells. The heart is divided into 4 chambers. Right atrium receives deoxygenated blood from the body through the superior and inferior vena cava. Right ventricle pumps deoxygenated blood to the lungs via the pulmonary artery for oxygenation. Left atrium receives oxygenated blood from the lungs through the pulmonary veins. Left ventricle pumps oxygenated blood to the rest of the body through the aorta. The heart has 4 valves that prevent the backflow of blood. Tricuspid valve between the right atrium and right ventricle. Pulmonary valve between the right ventricle and pulmonary artery. Mitral valve between the left atrium and left ventricle. Aortic valve between the left ventricle and aorta. Now, let's talk about the cardiac cycle, which refers to the events that occur during one heartbeat. Systole, the heart contracts. The ventricles contract, pushing blood into the arteries. Diastole, the heart relaxes. The atria contract to fill the ventricles with blood. During systole, the ventricular pressure rises, forcing the semilunar valves, pulmonary and aortic valves to open. Blood is pumped out of the heart into the lungs and the body. During diastole, the heart fills with blood as the atria contract and the atrioventricular valves, tricuspid and mitral valves open. Let's put it all together. Blood flows through the heart in a specific sequence. Deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium from the superior and inferior vena cava. The right atrium contracts and sends the blood through the tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. The right ventricle contracts, sending blood through the pulmonary valve into the pulmonary artery and then to the lungs. In the lungs, blood picks up oxygen and gets rid of carbon dioxide. Oxygenated blood returns to the heart through the pulmonary veins into the left atrium. The left atrium contracts, sending blood through the mitral valve into the left ventricle. The left ventricle contracts, sending oxygen-rich blood through the aortic valve into the aorta, from where it's distributed to the entire body. Now, let's look at the blood vessels involved in circulation. Systemic circulation. Blood flows from the heart, left ventricle, to the body, and then returns to the heart, right atrium. This is the large loop that delivers oxygen to tissues and picks up waste products. Pulmonary circulation. Blood flows from the heart, right ventricle, to the lungs for oxygenation, and then back to the heart, left atrium. This is the smaller loop that oxygenates the blood. The aorta is the largest artery, which branches into smaller arteries that carry blood to various parts of the body. The arteries then branch into smaller vessels called arterioles, and eventually into capillaries where gas exchange occurs. Blood flow is regulated by blood pressure, which is the force that blood exerts against the walls of blood vessels. Blood pressure is controlled by factors like heart rate, how fast the heart beats; stroke volume, the amount of blood the heart pumps with each beat; peripheral resistance, the resistance to blood flow in the smaller arteries and arterioles. The autonomic nervous system, ANS, plays a key role in regulating heart rate and blood pressure by controlling the contraction and relaxation of the blood vessels. Additionally, the kidneys help control blood pressure by regulating blood volume. Some common cardiovascular disorders include hypertension, high blood pressure, when the force of blood against the vessel walls is consistently too high, which can lead to heart disease and stroke. Atherosclerosis, a condition where fatty deposits build up inside the arteries, narrowing and hardening them, which can lead to heart attack or stroke. Heart failure, a condition where the heart is unable to pump blood efficiently, leading to fluid buildup and fatigue. Arrhythmias, abnormal heart rhythms such as atrial fibrillation, which can affect the efficiency of the heart's pumping action. To summarize, the cardiovascular system is responsible for transporting blood, oxygen, nutrients, and waste throughout the body. The heart pumps blood through the circulatory system, which includes arteries, veins, and capillaries. Blood flow is regulated by factors like heart rate and blood pressure, and disorders like hypertension and atherosclerosis can affect the efficiency of the system. Understanding how the cardiovascular system works is essential for diagnosing and treating many conditions, from heart disease to stroke.